Hello, everybody. I got carried away. It turned from graphics cards to whatever the fuck I was rambling about, so I'm here to re-record this. Hello, everybody. It's me, Pierre here, and today I wanted to talk about a huge problem that's going on in the tech community. Yes, by the way, before you comment and say this, yes, I'm back in VR. Yes, I'm gonna be recording VR chat videos some more again. Yes, this is the Vive Pro. Yes, the microphone is ass. I know. Please stop. Um, I'm doing my best here. Okay. I ripped the head strap off of my Vive, by the way, and put on a better head strap that made it more tolerable. This is what it looks like now. Anyway, now that I got that out of the way, more VRT videos are actually coming up, by the way, so stay tuned for those. They're a bit old now. I recorded them a couple weeks ago, 1 or 2 weeks ago. But anyway, besides the point, we're talking about graphics cards. Yeah, tech shit. Yeah, yeah. I am actually a pretty big tech nerd. I do know what I'm doing with PCs and stuff. I built my own PC. My brother built his own PC. We all build our own PCs. I am very unbiased when it comes to PC parts. Um, and to say that I regret going Nvidia Anyway, besides the point, I'm about to talk about something that is pissing me off about Nvidia and AMD right now, and why Intel is doing pretty good in the GPU market right now. I'm just going to talk about that, go over it really quick. I've been watching YouTubers like Gamers Nexus, Linus Tech Tips, J2 Sense, Unboxed, Hardware Unboxed, and stuff like that. And I noticed that Nvidia has been really fucking up really bad lately. And to no one's surprise, the 5060 is not flying off the shelves, which is a good thing, actually. Good on you guys for not buying the 5060. I am so proud of you guys for that. And here's why I am so proud. If you guys don't know what's going on, VRAM is a huge problem. Same with Bitbus in the graphics card market, and it's affecting a lot of gamers, but not just gamers, PC enthusiasts that want to do PC builds and have fun doing PC builds as a hobby. But it's really hard to do that when graphics cards are super fucking overpriced, and then not just overpriced for graphics cards. It's also really hard to do that when the graphics cards fucking suck and actually legitimately cannot play games. I'm not kidding. No matter how good the drivers are, it can't play games. Let me get into that. There was a YouTuber I watched, and I'm sure tech YouTubers talked about this too. I can't remember his name right now, and it's really bothering me that I can't. I am so sorry. Um, Here, I'll just say this. I'm not the one that found this out. Other YouTubers did. I'll just say that. Um, the 5060 has a big problem. Same with the 5060 Ti if it's the 8 gig version of the Ti version of that card. 8 gigabytes have become such a big problem for graphics cards, literally just because games are very VRAM hungry nowadays. So if you want to play modern games, I cannot recommend 8 gig graphics cards, even at 1080p. Now, yes, you could get away with 8 gigs on 1080p, but it's just barely. That's like at the brim. You're filling your 8 gigs pretty fucking high, even at 1080p, and it's teetering on that line of acceptable. Like, it's very close to not. I'm telling you right now, in a couple of months' time, or even a year, if you're lucky, 8 gigs of VRAM is just not going to be enough for graphics cards at all. And there shouldn't be 8 gig graphics cards in 2025. AMD said something that pissed me off, and of course other gamers off as well. AMD was like, 8 gigs is good enough at 1080p, shut the fuck up. I want to agree, but at the same time, I disagree. Because, like, yes, like I said, you could right now, get away with 8 gigs of VRAM with 1080p right now. But in a couple of months' time, I'm going to tell you right now that that is just not going to be true. And here's the problem with that, too. You can't take advantage of new features like frame gen, multi frame gen, or DLLS at all because your graphics card won't have enough VRAM for that. There was a YouTuber, I cannot remember his fucking name right now, that tested the 5060 specifically on Doom the Dark Ages and turned on frame gen and multi-frame gen with the 5060 that has 8 gigs, and it literally did not give him any more FPS. None. If he was lucky, it gave him 2 extra FPS. It was horrible and a completely false advertisement because 8 gigs is just not enough for that. And not just that, 8 gigs is just not enough for resolutions and just game textures and shit like that in general nowadays. So here's what I'm trying to say. I'm tired of Nvidia dropping the bit bus very low, like absolutely thinning out that fucking bit bus. I mean, like, how do I explain it? You know how it's like your balls are big, but your dick is thin. Yeah, that's not a good analogy. What I'm trying to say is that Nvidia's fucking up, and especially with PhysX. So if you like Mirror's Edge a lot and you still play that in 2025, which a lot of people still play older titles in 2025, I have no problem with that. If you like that kind of stuff, do not go with 5000 series or 50 series from Nvidia right now because they got rid of 32-bit PhysX support, meaning that a GTX 780 beats the 5090 or the 5080 in those games, and it specifically Mirror's Edge, by a landslide purely because of PhysX, and it's fucking sad. So that's another problem I have with Nvidia is getting rid of support, not allowing people to play older games, and honestly, I'm really tired of that too, where older games are kind of being abandoned, and it's just not okay. Some people want to still play those kind of games and those titles still to this day. Fuck, I still play Gary's Mod sometimes, and I still play Spore. Who knows if that uses a 32-bit PhysX? If I had a 50 series card, that would make me fucking cry. Um, but the problem at hand here is mostly just VRAM, because obviously not many people are going to um, care for the game part of that. Some people just don't care, which makes me sad. I think game preservation is very important, and I think we need to preserve games. Some ordinary gamers is a good example for that. He makes good videos on that. I think we should save physical media for games, not just physical media. I think we should just save games in general, like preserve them. And there's a lot of games at risk and at danger right now that you probably won't never see again, unfortunately. Besides the point, that was not the point of the video. I'm getting off topic again. Sorry. That is a thing. That's time for another video, actually. Maybe I'll make another video on that. We're talking about graphics cards. Nvidia's fucking over gamers heavily, and same with AMD to an extent. I don't think they're as bad as Nvidia, but I think AMD. I think you should go back on your word on what you just said, saying that 8 gigs is enough for 1080p. Because let's be honest, it's not. You must be living under a fucking rock, and it won't be for much longer either. Um, I think AMD should take back what they said, reword it, and just completely get rid of the 8 gig model. And as for you, Nvidia, completely get rid of the 5068 gig and just replace it with a 5060 12 gig. There you go. If you don't want to do 16 gig, at least do 12 gig. My point that I'm trying to make is if you have an 8 gigabyte graphics card, you probably don't have much longer for gaming, unfortunately, for modern games, especially if you're the type of person that wants to buy newer games and play them more and more. I have friends that have 8 gig cards that are having extreme problems running games because it's just, even at 1080p, it's just not enough, especially if you are the type of person like me, being a visual whore. You like visuals and all that other stuff. Sure, I might not like multi-frame gen or even regular frame gen because I'm a visual kind of guy, or I might not like DLSS, but I will admit those are good technologies only if Nvidia can do it right. For an example, Nvidia has 8 gigs of VRAM on the 5060. I was watching a guy on it, and as soon as he turned those settings on, it didn't even benefit him. I think DLSS did, but the frame gen and multi-frame gen just did not work at all with that graphics card. It maybe he gained 1 or 2 more FPS. It only because its VRAM is so thin and small. It's not good. It's like come on, Nvidia, just fix your shit. Anyway, the video that I'm trying to make here, and the point that I'm trying to make, is that do not buy 8 gigabyte graphics cards in 2025. Avoid them like the plague, especially modern ones, because it would be a shame if you just bought the 5060 and literally 2 months later you're having extreme problems with games that are coming out and you can't even benefit from the new stuff that they have for you to get more FPS, and it'll be really upsetting to hear people get upset about it. So here's what I recommend for graphics cards. I don't recommend any of 50 series period, because especially if you play older titles that involve PhysX 32-bit. Do not buy any of 50 series at all, especially because they're overpriced, and honestly, it's not very beneficial. There's barely of an uplift. There's barely any uplift for those graphics cards from 40 series and even 30 series at times. So don't even bother with 50 series. Screw Nvidia right now this year. Don't even bother. Unless if you could get one of the cards there in that lineup, besides the 5060 and 5060 Ti 8 GB, if you could get any other, I'm having a stroke. If you could get any of those other cards for a good price for 50 series, for a good price, I don't even think they're worth it at MSRP. I mean, like on sale, like a good price. Maybe. Fine. Whatever. But here's the cards that I actually recommend. I can recommend a 4070 if you can get it for a good deal. I do not recommend the GDDR6 version. Get the GDDR6X version. Make sure it's one of those versions. I can recommend that if you can get it for a good price. Unfortunately, they are skyrocketing in price for some fucking reason, and I actually do not know why. Do not ask me. But if you can find one for a good price, that is a good deal. Get a 4070 from Nvidia if you have to stay with Nvidia. As for 30 series, I can recommend a 3080 or a 3060. 3060 having 12 gig. Make sure it's the 12 gig version of the 3060. Oh, excuse me. So get the 12 gig 3060. I can recommend that, especially for a good price. All my friends got them for good fucking prices. I'm not even kidding. Like really good deals. I mean, next to nothing, which is really nice. Those could fly off shelves and be pretty good of a card for nowadays, especially with the 12 gigs of lasting you. And then you can turn on DLSS or FSR even if you need it, if you prefer FSR or XeSS from Intel. You could do stuff with that if you need it for extra performance. As for the 3080, make sure you get the 12 gig version. If you can't find the 12 gig version, you can get the 10 gig version, but you are quite pushing it. That is literally very iffy. You gotta really work hard to get the 12 gig version, and sometimes they overprice the 12 gig version because it is quite rare now. Um, the most common version is the 10 gig. You could, like I said, you can go with the 10 gig, but you are teetering on that line of almost not enough, but just enough for 1440p, but probably not very higher. You could probably get away with 4K with 10 gigs of VRAM, but again, you're pushing that. You're pushing it basically. But at 1080p or 1440p, you should be okay with the highest graphics for a while, maybe 1 or 2 more years, with 10 gigs of VRAM. As for 20 series, none of them. I can't recommend any of 20 series, especially because its ray tracing performance is not great, because it's the first generation of ray traced cards. And even though the 2080 Ti has 11 gigs of VRAM, I still can't recommend it. And below that, 10 series, I cannot recommend at all because it doesn't have ray tracing, doesn't have DLSS, doesn't have all the fancy technology. Even though I love the 1080 Ti, it was a behemoth of a graphics card, a legendary graphics card. Driver support is being dropped for those graphics cards. So 10 series, 16 series, and 9 series I cannot recommend. They're too old, they don't have the new modern tech, and they're losing driver support. So do not be buying those. And who knows how long 20 series has left on its line. So that's why I can't really recommend 20 series. But I would have, because if the ray tracing and stuff was good, and if not every card in that lineup besides the 2080 Ti had 8 gigs of VRAM, maybe I could have, um, but yeah, I can't recommend any of 20 series either. So that's all I can recommend from Nvidia is the 3060 12 gig, the 3080 10 gig and 12 gig, and the 4070. I guess I can kind of recommend a 4080 if you can get it on a good deal. All right, hear me out. If you can get it for a good deal. I cannot recommend the 4090 because trust me, your power bill will go skyrocketing, and that card is a fire hazard. Just don't even fucking bother with that card right now. I mean, unless if you want to, if you have the money, fuck it, fine. I actually recommend the 4090 over the 5090, and it's actually better than a 5080. So, and you get 32-bit PhysX support. So, I'm losing my fucking mind, as you can tell. Okay, now let's talk about AMD. I can recommend the 6900 XT because it has enough VRAM stuff. I do not know if the 6800 XT had a 12 gig version. I think it did have 12 gigabytes on a 6800 XT. So if you could get a 12 gigabyte 6800 XT, then yeah, go for it. That's actually a good option too. So anywhere from like the 6800 and higher, I can recommend from AMD from their 6000 series. The ray tracing performance isn't good, but it's good enough to get you by, and if you don't crank the ray tracing, that is. And plus, you have FSR on the table and XeSS if you need it. And AMD is also coming out with their multi-frame gen as well, which I think works on will work on those cards. I don't know. Don't count me on that. I hope it will. But besides the point, unless they already came out with the multi-frame, I don't know if it's out yet or not for AMD. But yeah, I can recommend the 6800 and higher if you could get 12 gig models of those said cards. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the 6900 XT and the 6950 XT, don't those have 16 gigs of RAM? I think they might. I'm not sure. But I can recommend those from AMD from 6000. As for 7000, I can recommend, I think the 7700 XT and up, because I think the 7700 XT has a 12 gig version. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't actually quite remember. It's been a minute since I've been looking at AMD cards. But if I remember, I feel like there was a 12 gig version of the 7700 XT. If you could get that for a good price, that's good. If there isn't a 12 gig version, then I recommend the 7800 XT and higher. So you can get 12 gigs or 16 gigs and higher. And if you could get for a good deal the 7900 XT, that's a big bang for the buck right now. If you could get for a good deal, especially on sale, because it has 20 gigs of VRAM and it's actually just a behemoth of a graphics card. So, and if you could get the 7900 XTX for a good deal, that's also a behemoth of a graphics card. That's also really good. I'm pretty sure it's on par or beats the 4080. I don't know. Don't count me on that. So yeah, it's not that bad of a graphics card either. Those are the cards I could recommend. That's about it, unfortunately. Well, no, I can recommend the 9070. I can recommend the 9070. The 9070 graphics card from AMD is actually good if you could get it for a good price. Good price, by the way. Like, hear me out. If you can get it for a good price, then buy it. Now, wait for the 9060. If you want to wait for that too, I'm sure that's going to bring some good, promising shit to the table. As long as it's not the 8 gig version. Remember what I said. Not 8 gig, not 8 gig. If it's the 16 gig version of that card, then get that. If the 9060 XT is good. Or I don't know if it's an XT. I think it's actually just the 9060. But if it's a good card, then get that. Snag that. I'm sure that will be a good deal if you can get it at MSRP or on sale. Now let's talk about the teeny tiny little elephant in the room. The little guy, just the little baby little lad, the little guy that just got into the GPU market. Intel! Woo, Intel. I actually like their cards. Don't take that as me not liking them. They're doing a really good job. If you could get their cards at MSRP, that's good as well. Here's the cards I can recommend from Intel as well. If you can get an Intel Arc A770 for a 16 gigabyte version for a good price, then snag that. If you could get the Intel Arc B580 for a good deal, 12 gig version, then snag that as well. Those two cards are really good. Unless if you're a VR gamer, do not even bother buying those cards because they have a problem with VR right now. So don't even bother right now until those are better. But their drivers are pretty good now to the point where it's pretty good for modern games and even some old titles as well. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm really tired of Intel, not Intel, sorry, AMD and Nvidia specifically for graphics cards pushing their luck, thinking that they could get away with shit. But look, Nvidia. I watched the Gamers Nexus video that was out a couple hours ago. It looks like the 5060 is not selling. It's like, oh my god, maybe you should actually fucking listen for once or some shit. Same with you, AMD. Please get rid of the 8 gig version. You're making a mistake. Just cut it off. Cut off the 8 gig version of your 9060. If you could do that, then I can really recommend the 9060, because then people won't be confused. because companies like to write 8 GB on the box in very small font and text, and be very misleading and confuse people, because companies like to slap an 8 gig version in there but only show the performance of the 16 gig version. Weird, isn't that? They're too afraid to show the 8 gig version of its performance. Anyway, I want to ramble about this because I'm a big tech nerd. I love tech. Um, and if you're on a console, you're safe. Uh, Maybe not for price, and this console generation is quite a slippery slope, especially with the Switch 2 coming out. I don't really have high hopes for that anymore, but that's besides the point. That's another video. I gotta stop getting distracted. Anyway, stay away from 8 gig cards, please. Alright? Set an image. Let them know. Let AMD and Nvidia know that we don't want that anymore. Okay? Don't buy into it. Don't listen to them. It's really dumb. It's about time that we actually stand up for ourselves as gamers. I'm sorry. As gamers, and fucking tell them to fuck off with that dumb shit. Cause honestly, big tech corporations think they are above the law, and it's really fucking annoying by now. Actually, it isn't. It isn't really illegal to make an 8 GB card. What I mean by that is that they have a lot of lies where it can be illegal, is what I'm trying to say. Besides the point. Like I said, I'm gonna end this video here now because I've been talking for way too fucking long now. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like. If you disliked, hit that dislike. Also, don't forget to check out my other videos here on the channel, and hit that subscribe button and bell icon as well, so you don't miss any more of my content on here on the channel. And yeah, that would be very much appreciated. This is Pira. Stay cool and stay the fuck out of my fridge. VR chat videos are coming up soon. Yeah. Don't buy 8 GB cards, please. Just stop that. And if you have an 8 GB card right now, upgrade to like at least 12 gigs and higher, and make sure the graphics card is actually stronger than the current card you have. Because then that would be unfortunate. Don't just do it purely because of VRAM. Because yeah, whatever. If you're on like a 3070 or something. Anyway, besides the point. I'm gonna head out now. This is Pierce. Stay cool. Stay the fuck out of my fridge. Bye bye.